I'm Rika Brandon, and this week's quick tip is how hiring the way you've always hired is adversely affecting your business in 2022. And this comes from numerous conversations with my prospects and clients who are wondering why recruiting and hiring is so much more challenging than they expected to be. I mean, yes, they of course see the news feed that, there's 4.6 million jobs open versus people available to work them. And the great resignation is still thriving along as we hit near record numbers or record numbers every month of people who have resigned from their job. So with that, I want to share a couple of things that might be things that you don't even really see anymore because you've been doing them for so long and it's the way you've always done it. So the first thing that I see that's really limiting my clients and my prospects in this opportunity to grow is that, especially in the hourly positions, they're a little bit stuck in what that ideal hire profile looks like. And that often looks like somebody who has building products experience, somebody who's done exactly that job before, and now is just going to leave that job and come to work for us. Well, that of course is ideal. And if we can get that and they're also a culture fit, that's the win. That's what we're always searching for when we're recruiting. However, the reality is you are setting yourself up to be disappointed and frustrated because we have an aging workforce and we're in a period of time where 10,000 people are turning 65 every day for a period of 10 years. Yeah, do the math on that. That's a lot of retirements. And you are likely feeling them in your own organization and will be for the next 5 to 10 years. So I want you to recognize that we are losing a huge number of our workforce. And if you were to look at LinkedIn, only less than 1% of all the professionals on LinkedIn are in building materials. That's how small and finite our space is. So I want you to recognize that we already had a relatively small pool of talent. It was aging, many of them are retiring. And on top of that, as a whole, the industry has really failed to attract and engage the next generation workers, meaning millennials and Gen Z. So what we have is an unbelievable talent crunch. It's never been easy to find a bunch of qualified building products people to consider, but we're at a very extreme time where there's just not a lot of them, and it takes a lot more effort to get them interested in your opportunity. So I encourage you to really take this chance and think about hiring for aptitude and attitude and bolstering up your training programs, right? And if you talk to your HR person, if you have them, I'm pretty sure they're going to agree with me that there's a lot of great candidates you're overlooking because you're looking for a certain experience instead of an aptitude for the business and an attitude that's willing to learn and do the work that fits into your culture. So that's the first thing I would really encourage you to open your mind about what can work and how can we make it work, because as time goes on, unless we fix our inability to attract that next generation, the pool is going to get more and more narrow. So I say this especially for people who are looking for people who have less than 12 years of experience. Those are the generations we've sort of failed to attract. So keep that in mind, that this is a great opportunity, especially for those more early career entry-level roles, to build a robust training program. The second way that it's adversely affecting you is that you might have got a little comfortable waiting to see who else applied, waiting to see what else is out there. And so even if you have a pretty solid candidate in front of you, you might just sit on it and you might not communicate it to that candidate, which is a double no-no. But you might just sit there and not decide. You don't really know what you're unsure about, but it doesn't feel right. And that time kills deals in the best of scenarios. When we are in a candidate short marketplace and there is many more jobs than people available to work it, it's essentially like saying no. And just so you know, when you can't decide, you are in fact making a choice. So we want you to make sure that you're knowing that choice. And if it really is that you don't have the answers you need, you should identify those and figure out a way to get them. Do you need to have another interview? Do you need to do a pre-hire project? Do you need to have them do a ride along? I don't know what it is, but when you can't identify your concerns, you can't address them. And so you need to take the time to be able to address the concerns so you can take the appropriate action to get the answers to help you make an informed decision of, yes, I want to go forward, or no, I don't, right? So the third thing is you are involving way too many people in the selection process. And this happens when companies are small, and some of them keep it as they continue to grow. but it can be a little bit like, oh, they're going to work with everybody. We should get everybody's opinion. We want to know what everyone thinks, or this manager, that manager, this executive, that executive. And suddenly you've got 3, 4, 7 people being part of a selection process for a sales manager or a sales rep. And so with that, I want you to really think about the fact of who needs to be here and what are we going for? So we have a clear business idea and understand the business need this position fills. And we're looking at, of course, their immediate supervisor, who's going to have the best understanding of the day-to-day life in the role and the culture of the team and the likelihood of success. Then, of course, we can certainly involve the manager's boss if we want. Another thing might be, often in sales, they deal closely with customer service as well. So we might want to have a customer service manager or a high-level trusted customer service rep be part of it to make sure that they can cover some questions that will come up in how they're going to interface with customer service. What we don't want is to be involving people unnecessarily. One, because it costs you a lot of money to have those people sitting in the interview. It costs time because it takes a lot of time to coordinate 4 people's schedules for interviews. And the last one is it costs you time because then there's differing of opinions and everybody's weight is almost equal, which isn't how it should be. And so the people who should have the most voice are often feeling like, well, I don't know if I should say that because the president was here and they, weren't sure. So what am I not seeing that they're not seeing? And so I encourage you to use something like a candidate ranking sheet. So everybody's looking at the same things, everybody's giving them a rank, and they have that written down before we all start sharing feedback, because it is very easy to change your viewpoint when you get feedback. And you certainly will and may, but we want everyone to start with their own true peer opinion before we go forward, because that allows us to make decisions faster. So again, the 3 ways that what you've always done might not be serving you now is you're limiting who you'll consider, and you're not looking for attitude and aptitude. You are too slow to decide. You are taking too long because you're uncertain about, what they have, or maybe you're like hoping somebody great applies, right? And then the third thing is you're involving too many people. So you're getting like too many cooks in the kitchen and you're unable to move quickly and make decisions quickly. And these are ways that you are limiting your ability to win the war for talent in the current candidate market we have. I hope this helps.